Good morning and welcome back to Wishwell Farms. Today we're going to be planting these pollinator watermelons in our seedless watermelon patch. All right, we got a load of them on the Ranger ready to go down to the field. These are in 50 count Ellipot trays. Looks like a little Jiffy Cube. That's the way they come. We just put the seeds in them. They actually come in stacks of these little inserts all filled and ready to go. We put them inside a tray. All right, we're gonna get these down in the field. It is a little muddy today, and I have 3 guys willing to walk through the mud to get these planted. All right, we're down here in the seedless watermelon patch. Got 3 guys dropping off pollinator plants on the plastic. We put one down for every 3 seedless that's already planted. So you can see we put one there at the end. 1, 2, 3. Those have already been transplanted. The whole field has been transplanted. And we come back in after the fact. It's been about 10 days probably, maybe just a week, and put our pollinators in. Ideally, we would want to do it at the same time or a few days after, but we like to, let me wait till the semi goes by. Noise is noise. We like to irrigate first and make sure that bed's nice and moist before we put our pollinators in. It makes the job so much easier, and I'll show you why here in a second. So if we look down the row here, you can see we got a pollinator sitting here. 1, 2, 3. Another pollinator. 1, 2, 3. Another pollinator. If you're wondering what that hole is, that is from a deer. The deer walk across our plastic and wreak havoc on it. There's another deer print. And that's just a plant that's struggling right there. I have a whole bunch of extra plants in the greenhouse for coming out here and replanting plants that didn't survive. There goes Joel, heading back to pick garlic scapes. He grows about a ½ acre of garlic, maybe a little more, I'm not sure. But this is the time of the year that you got to take the scapes off the top to put all the energy into the bulb. Anyway, back to the pollinator. Let me show you how I plant these. So I tell the kids to look to see what side the drip tape's on. So on watermelon and most of our crops, the drip tape is going to be just slightly off center, either to the left or the right. It just depends on which way we laid the bed of plastic. So on this particular row, the drip tape is off to the right of this row. So we've already irrigated it, so there's lots of moisture down here. So I would like to have these pollinator plants closer to the drip line than in the center, just so I know there's plenty of moisture there. So what I'm gonna do is take this little stake that I made for planting strawberry plants, strawberry roots. It works great for this job. So I'm gonna take my stick, jam it down in there, give it a little wiggle, and pop my plant right down in there and make sure she's buried good. Now it's good to go. And if you look closely, these things are getting so old, they have little watermelons already starting to grow on them. There was the flower, there's the little watermelon. So these newly planted seedless watermelon are getting ready to start vining out real soon. I can see new growth starting to form on them. So there's no flowers on them yet, that's good. So what's good about the male pollinator plant is that they are very prolific at producing lots and lots of blossoms and flowers to help pollinate these. And they're early, so these will flower out and blossom before these, and that's what you want. You don't want these to flower out first before the pollinator plant. All right, I'll demonstrate this again. So we know our drip line is right here. Here's the center of the bed. I'm gonna go just a tad closer to the center. Pull that open. You can look down inside there and see there's a little hole I've made. I'm gonna stick that pollinator plant right down in there and just make sure the dirt has covered it up well, and it should take off. So this job goes fairly quickly. The mud's slowing us down a little bit, but you know, ½ hour, 45 minutes, we'll have this done. There's been years in the past where we've done this before irrigating the plastic and it was dry. It makes it so much harder to pop this down in there and not have the dirt cave in on the hole that you've formed. So fortunately, everything's nice and moist today, and it makes the job so much easier. So you might be asking yourself, why do I need to put a pollinator plant out here with my seedless watermelon? It's not necessary on seeded watermelon. On the seedless watermelon, it might be because they don't have the male blossoms. I'm not really sure, but I do know that if you don't put a pollinator plant out here, you'll have a beautiful field of vines with no fruit. So absolutely necessary to have the pollinator plants in with the seedless watermelon. I think the seed companies recommend that you put a pollinator plant every 2 seedless plants, but we have found that doing one every 3 has been plenty, and I've never had a problem. And many years ago, when we did plant seeded watermelon, I would even plant pollinators beside, like say like those were seeded watermelon right here. I would even put pollinators in the first 2 rows beside them, downwind from them. It was always plenty of pollen coming from those seeded ones to pollinate the seedless watermelons next to them. All right, I'm back up here in the greenhouse to take down some more pollinator plants. I don't think they're gonna need all of them, but they're just about out. So we'll take about 5 or 6 more down, and that should be enough to finish up. Perfect. That's all there is to it. And it is a sloppy mess out here today. We're supposed to be doing onions today over there on our very first row along the grass, but it is just far too muddy to do that because you're bending down on your knees for several hours putting those in. So we're hoping to get a start on those tomorrow or Friday as soon as the fields dry up a little bit. Just depends on how much it rains tonight. All right, we're back up here in the transplant house, filling inserts and flats for our 42 flats of cauliflower that need seeding. So here's my spreadsheet. We don't normally seed these until June 1st, but it's a rainy, cloudy day, so the perfect day to get this done here on May 29th. That's pretty close. We're gonna be doing 5 rows, 2 rows on each row of plastic. We got a row of purple cauliflower, a row of orange cauliflower, and then these 4 varieties are the traditional white cauliflower. Just about finished up with packing all of today's pick of red round tomatoes and cherry or grape tomatoes, and now it's starting to rain. Perfect time to head back into the greenhouse to do some more work. Normally we save this greenhouse work till Friday, but we're going to go ahead and knock it out today, which is Wednesday, because Friday we're going to be planting onions, hopefully. All right, all the employees just finished up their work here in the little house. Everything is pruned and suckered and debranched. Didn't have to lower in here yet. They're not quite tall enough, but they're getting close. Anyway, while I was down here helping them get finished up for the day, I found a plant that has a disease. I've already cut it out, and I'll show you what was wrong with it. See this little spot right there? It looks dead and woody. And the plant appearance is kind of droopy and wilty and discolored. This plant has sclerotinia. I don't do any kind of disease treatments in my greenhouses. I don't ever need to. But I do, from time to time, maybe once or twice a year, find a plant with sclerotinia. And inside that dead spot, if you were to break that open and look inside, there would be fruiting bodies that look like little mouse turds. And I've never left the plant in the greenhouse long enough for it to release those, but if those were to drop into one of the buckets, it would probably disease, and it would spread disease to all the other plants as well. I've heard it's really contagious, so if I ever come across sclerotinia, I think it might be also known as root rot, or maybe that's something else. I'm not up on all my diseases currently. All I know is that sclerotinia is highly contagious, and you want to remove it from your greenhouse right away if you have it. Just about finished up around the farm this morning. We have more work to do in the field, planting the onions, the candy onions, but it's just too muddy. So I feel bad having all my employees in here. I think there was 11 out here today. Just about everybody was here, and we get everything done by 11 o'clock. So You know, they're here for 3 hours from 8 to 11. We get everything done. I feel kind of bad that I can't provide more hours, but this time of year, there's just not that much happening around here. And when you got a cloudy, rainy day, what do? You know, we do all the work in the greenhouse and some, and we're all caught up currently. So until there's more growing out in the field to harvest or other things that can be planted when it's dry enough, we just don't have a lot of work right now. It's just one of those things that happens early in the season. You know, everybody's out of high school and college now wanting work, but we have limited hours available. Now Saturday's a huge day. I'll need all hands on deck for Saturday, but it's these weekdays, especially Tuesdays and Thursdays, we won't really do anything. I'll do my own thing out in the field, spraying, planting, those kind of things. But the employees are only here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we can get everything done on those 3 days. All right, I just got to get these 42 flats of cauliflower watered, and then I'm going in for lunch. This is for a fall harvest. It'll be early fall. Like I said earlier, we seeded it probably 4 days ahead of normal, and I've even seeded it later. We've done a second seeding much later to get us through the whole month of October, and we've often even picked it into November. But I don't want to run my markets that late in the year, so that's why we moved it up just a little bit. This should be ready to start harvesting in late September. Every year is a little bit different. We can't completely rely on exactly what happened last year. It's a good guide to go by, but you know, and the weather and the rain and the sun, temperatures, all that plays into when that cauliflower crop will be ready to harvest. But we're hopeful it'll be late September. That'll be perfect early fall cauliflower to sell at the farmers markets. On the very first watering, you gotta be really careful because the dirt is so dry that the water will pool up or puddle up on top of the dirt and could potentially even wash the seed out. So I go over really lightly the first couple times, like a fine mist, just to wet it down. And after lunch, I'll come back out here and water them again with a little heavier watering, and then by then the water should be soaking down into the cell and wetting down all the soil nicely. Good morning, it's the next day, and there was just not a lot happening around the farm yesterday. It was rainy and gloomy all day, so we just worked in the greenhouses all morning, and then I sent my employees home, and I started working on our mobile produce trailer, and that's what I wanted to show you today. So this trailer is set up at a busy intersection in Marysville, Ohio, 6 days a week. Usually we start on the Saturday of Memorial Day, but we held off till June 1st this year. And we will be there all during June, July, and August. And then after Labor Day, we'll cut it back to just a couple days a week because things start to slow down after kids go back to school and we start running out of produce and the demand lessens. But during July and August, this trailer is extremely busy and does very well for us. June, it'll slowly ramp up as we start adding more and more of our own produce. But the good thing about this trailer is, since it's not a farmer's market, I'm allowed to put anything I want on there. I lease a parking lot from a business called Ida's Italian Ice at an intersection called 5 Points Intersection. There's actually 5 roads that merge in this one spot, and it's one of the busiest places in Marysville, Ohio. It's in Union County. It's right next to Dublin, Hilliard, Plain City, Powell area. So it's a booming area, lots of growth, and well worth our while to make sure this trailer is there in that busy intersection 6 days a week. So today I'm just going to show you a little bit about this trailer and some of the things I need to do to get it ready for our first day of sales this Saturday in Marysville. Okay, we're just going to do a quick walk around. So I have to train my employees how to unhook and hook up a trailer, how to back up to the trailer, and how to back a truck and trailer up. So we always spend about an hour training the employees that are going to be running this trailer on how to properly hook up and unhook a trailer and how to back it up. And backing the trailer up can be very tricky, especially if you have never done this before. And a lot of times these are teenage girls or young adults that have no experience pulling a trailer let alone backing up a trailer. So we always spend a little bit of time training them on how to do this properly. And often they will still struggle with it, but once they do it a few times, they usually get the hang of it. So when we get to market, we will unhook the trailer and pull the truck out of the way to a different area in the parking lot. And this is our tomato table. This table sets right over the top of the tongue. So we'll have to lower it a little bit when they get to market so the table will fit over this jack, and that usually levels the trailer out pretty good as well. So this will be loaded up with our tomatoes and some relish and maple syrup. And we also leave extra open boxes of tomatoes right here if they want to choose from these boxes. And we always have a credit card sign on here, our YouTube channel sign, a Facebook sign. We still need to add an hours sign. Up here will be our scales and money box and credit card machine. And we have a banner on each side. It's our old outdated logo. I just haven't had new banners made yet. This side will have zucchini, cucumbers, squash, green beans, peppers, onions, and red potatoes. Back here will be our cantaloupe and watermelon. This is our corn display shelf. Has a removable piece here so we can close this up. So the bag rack comes off, and then this just swings up into place. And we bungee cord it right here. Now it's out of the way and we can close this wing for transportation. And I will show you all of this and how it looks at market in the next video. But today we're just getting it prepared and ready, because you can't just pull it out of the barn and go. We're gonna touch it up with some paint, put price cards on the signs, and make sure all the lights and blinkers work. Make sure there's no loose bolts up on the canopy, because we have had a disaster before. I have 2 of these trailers, and this trailer has been rebuilt. It's actually all replaced. About 10 years ago, I had a kid driving home from Marysville, and I don't know if a bolt came undone or these legs attached to the frame, and somehow wind got up underneath it and it ripped the canopy up, pulled his trailer and truck sideways, flipped the trailer out into the median, and the truck came to a rest in oncoming traffic on a US highway. Fortunately, there was no oncoming traffic to crash into the truck and trailer when this took place. So I'm always sure to check all the attachment points on this awning to make sure everything's secure and ready for another season. You can see we have bag racks all around the trailer. These pull and pack bags, one on each side in the front for customers to bag their own tomatoes. Here they can bag their other items that we put on this side of the trailer. And you can see we have another roll right here. This is where we display our peaches, so people can bag their own peaches. And the girls always swing these out for sales time, and then at the end of the day we swing them back in so we can close the awning. Another banner on this side, and this is our main checkout area, and you can see it gets a lot of wear and tear. This is why I want to touch this up with some fresh paint. I've had a lot of comments over the years about where I got this. So this is just a 16-foot utility trailer, the wide version. I think it's 6.5 feet wide, and I built all of the shelving in this trailer. The awning comes from Rainbow Industries in Springfield, Ohio. They ship all over the United States, and they have many different styles, and they also make regular tents as well. So I added a little step here so it's easy to enter and exit the trailer. So this is where the sales staff will stand. Like I said, this is where the scales and the money box will be, and the credit card machine. And this is primarily the checkout area. Some people will also check out here, but I usually have this completely full on this side of produce. We will store all of our tomatoes, usually like 20 boxes or so, in the nose of the trailer. And then we'll stack corn, our corn tubs, in crates all around the inside, underneath the shelves. That way they're out of the way. We'll also have extra green beans and zucchini and things like that underneath this shelf. When they start the day off, there's usually extra corn in the back as well because we can't fit it all in the trailer. And on Friday nights, I will also include more cantaloupe in the back of the truck because Saturdays are so busy, I can't fit it all in the trailer. So one thing that's really nice about this trailer is that you're out of the weather and the sun and the rain, and it can be run by one employee. Now, in the mornings, I do have a second person that lives in Marysville show up to come and help because there usually is a pretty busy rush in the morning for a couple hours, and on Saturday mornings as well. Saturdays are very, very busy. You could almost use a third person for a couple hours, but having the two people there in the morning hours works great, and then in the afternoon there's kind of a slow period, and then it might pick up a little bit like that 3:30 to 5 o'clock when people are getting off work. But one person is all that's needed in the afternoons, and then she'll pack this thing up, sweep up around the trailer, and bring it home for us to unload and get ready for the next day. So this trailer has been going to this intersection in Marysville for over 15 years, and the market does absolutely amazing for us. We did move across the street. We used to be in a Rite Aid parking lot. Rite Aid since has closed down, and now there's a Sheetz there. But before that happened, Rite Aid discontinued allowing us to lease a spot in their parking lot. I guess they had some lawsuit out in California. They got sued for some tent disaster, probably had an injury at a farmer's market or something. So when that happened about 6 or 7 years ago, they discontinued all leases on any of their property throughout the United States. So when that happened, we moved to a Burger King down the road for 1 year temporarily till we found a better location. And then fortunately a spot opened up directly across the road from Rite Aid called Ida's Italian Ice. It's like a little ice cream joint, and they were willing to lease us a spot in their parking lot. It gets very, very busy in the afternoons because people are not only coming to get produce from us, but also from Ida's Italian Ice. It used to be a little used car lot before it was Ida's Italian Ice, but owned by the same family. So I'm gonna get this trailer all finished up, touched up with paint, get the new price cards on, and I'll bring you back when it's all finished up and ready to haul to Marysville. I guess a paint roller would have been a little more efficient, but I already got the brush out now, and I only got a couple little spots to do. Alrighty folks, the produce trailer is officially ready to go for the 2024 season in Marysville. All the paint has been touched up around the trailer, price cards are in place and ready to go. If you have any questions or comments about watermelon pollinators or about our produce trailer, just drop them down in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer those questions. This is where we're gonna wrap up today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and hope to see you all again real soon down on the farm.